y'all, I'm Hope here at Crafty Hope. Welcome! I am working again in my art journal, advent journal. That's a lot of journaling there. This is a prompted daily challenge that runs the December 1st through 24th. Of course, there's wiggle room in there. Of December. So it's an advent. It comes from, I'll have the links below, but it's Michelle and Tamara host this, and each day there is a prompt. This is day 20 with the prompt remarkable, and y'all had the hardest time at coming up with what would be remarkable, and so I started do you know how you say a word over and over and over again and it gets to just sound weird? And I think that's kind of what I did with remarkable, because I was like, remarkable, remarkable, remark, like that. And I came up with the idea of making a mark over and over and over again. So basically remarking something. And what can help you remark on something is some whiteout. So I've got this white Bic whiteout pen that I was like, I am going to use this in some way to be able to remark on something or something along those lines. Y'all, the idea of being able to remake your mark and whiteout is what makes you do that. If that makes any sense. So I came into this page. You can see when I started, there was a bunch of floss on it from the stitching I had done on the previous page. So I knew I needed to collage over all of that to cover it up for one thing and secure it, but also to kind of just get a base on here. And I am using quite a bit of some of my favorite papers. I've decided to try to use some of the collage materials and papers that I have that I hold a little too precious. If you saw, my 100-day project last year was a not precious project. And I learned that when I use the things that I love, I tend to really like what I make. So that's what I did here, using some paper with some handwriting, I think there's some other paper that's, rust dyed, and then some onion skin typed paper that is just yummy. And so I used my fluid matte medium to get that all down and then dried it. And now I've come in with some India ink, just black India ink. It took me a little while to find a brush that I wanted. And I'm going to start by making some marks with this black India ink. I'm just doing some plus signs. I was trying to decide, I think when I started, if I was going to use a flat brush or a round brush, and I ended up going with this round brush. Now, I love using the India ink because first off, it's really fluid, but it also makes just the blackest black, and I don't know, there's something just so yummy about it. And when it dries, it's fairly matte, unlike some acrylic paints and that kind of thing. So I'm just scattering this around a little bit and not thinking too hard. Here you can see I'm trying to almost correct some of the signs, the plus signs I made, but anyway, I'm going to dry it super quick because I didn't want to come in with this whiteout pen while it was still wet and smear it. So I could have also used the whiteout that has a brush or whatever, but no, I wanted to use the pen. I like that I can mimic some of the plus signs that I made with the India ink. And yeah, that's exactly what I'm doing. I am coming in. I'm sorry I'm off camera there a little bit, but you'll see it when I realize and move it up in just a second. Just making some similar plus signs. These are slightly smaller because, of course, the nib on that pen is smaller than that paintbrush was. And y'all, I know this isn't remarkable in the sense of the word remarkable, and I'm actually not even going to be marking on top of the whiteout. But when it comes to prompts in general, you don't have to use the prompts literally. It's just supposed to spark something in you, and this is what it sparked in me. So That typed paper, when I tore it down, had some kind of blue, like maybe like a China marker or something across it, and it was driving me crazy that there was nothing else blue on here. So I took my blue Stabilo all pencil, a watercolor pencil of some kind would be fine too, and just made some splatters on there. Then I went to my not sewing machine, nope, typewriter, other machine, different machine, and typed up the phrase, oh, what did I type up? Oh my gosh, y'all, now I can't even remember. Um, um, I think it was like, make your mark on this world and then do it again and again and again and again. And you'll see it a little bit better at the end. But, making your mark, make it again, make it again. You're remarking something. So, yeah, I know, I'm a dork. I will take words and be far too literal with them. So that's what I did. But that's what kept going in my head, and that's what I did with my mark making. I was making that mark over and over and over again. So I typed that up on some pretty thick paper, I think. I don't know what it was, just some paper I had. I inked the edges with walnut stained distress ink, and as you can see, I am tearing down a bit of rust dyed fabric. Now, the rust dyed fabric, I think came to me because I had that rusty paper on there, and that kind of upper toward the left portion. And so I was like, well, I'll continue that idea of rusty stuff on here. And yeah, so I tore down that, and I could see that when I collaged it, some of the white of the paper was still showing. So yeah, I inked up the edges a little bit of my journal. And I'm still futzing with that rusty fabric, trying to figure out exactly how I want to lay my little sentiment on it. And yeah, I decided to bring something else rusty in, and I grabbed my very dangerous tin of rusty pins. It's got safety pins and some T-pins in there too, which I don't know what I'll ever do with those T-pins, but I try to be really careful when I reach into that container so I don't get poked. I'm doing the same thing, being very careful, trying to get these safety pins into this rusty fabric without poking myself. My tetanus shot is out of date, so yeah. And I wanted two on here for some reason because I had the room to put one at the top and one at the bottom, and so that's what I'm doing. And I was trying to kind of be methodical about how I did it so that the heads of the safety pins were, one was on one side and one was on the other. I don't know. But also that they kind of flipped in the same direction. So it almost feels like it's pinned there. I mean, not really, but yeah. Then I've got my Beacon 3-in-1 glue that I'm going to use to, I think, glue down both the fabric and my sentiment. I will, once I get the fabric kind of down, I'm going to flip up the edges where I didn't get the glue because, I wanted to make sure I did it after, so I got it exactly where I wanted it. So once I get this all glued down, I'm going to, for a minute, think, okay, I'm done. This page is done. But then it starts to bother me that rust color is more centered over on the left side. So I'm going to show it to you and be like, hey, look at this. And I was like, nope, that's not done. So, I started to pull out some more of that rusty paper, and I was like, what would really work is some rusty hinge distress oxide. So I'm going to put it on a little piece of acetate, wet that with my wet paintbrush, and just, splatter it a little bit. I think, right there in a couple spots, I'm going to actually put the color down a little more intensely since it's pretty intense on that fabric. And then I will dry this and be done with it. I know I've got at least 2 more of these art journal advent pages to share with you. So stay tuned for that. I hope you are enjoying them, and let me know if you have any questions or anything. Thank you so much for coming and spending this time with me. I will see y'all later. Bye.